Hi everyone, this is Art Matters New York. We are here a small group, but let's see what we are on. Mark, you were at some galleries lately.
Yes,
You told
yes,
me.
yes.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm here in New York City, and I visited some galleries in Tribeca yesterday.
mhm, mhm.
I wasn't. I was a little underwhelmed. Let's put it that way. Uh,
A
I
very
don't want
good.
to sound, I don't want to sound, um, what's the word?
Old, cranky, and jaded.
Yeah, thank you. That pretty
I'll
much.
I'll carry that banner for you later. Okay, the old, cranky, and jaded dibs.
I don't know. I didn't see anything. There was one, yeah, there was one show I liked. Uh, I can't remember his name. I'm God, forget it. We should just like start over again here. Um, I'm just, yeah. Yeah, there was a lot to look at. I sort of walked in and out. There wasn't anything, overly compelling. It just felt like there really wasn't I don't want, there hasn't been a center, of course, for a long time. I mean,
Mhm.
meaning, a feeling that this is what artists are thinking about or pursuing. I just felt that, you know, people are searching and the galleries are still there. Um, I'm not sure. I just, I mean, I'm meaning when I say the galleries are still there, I'm meaning they have to mount shows. They have to represent, what artists are doing. But I don't get the feeling. I'm wondering, what kind of, conversation, what kind of dialogue is going on, between artists. And so,
Yes,
if there is kind of a a some sort of what's the word, coherence, or if there
yes.
is some sort of um,
So, do you think that the artists are confused, or the galleries, or both, or I
I think
mean,
it,
it sounds like you are very frustrated what you saw. No, there is nothing sticking out, or how
you
would you
know,
describe that feeling?
I don't know. I don't know how I would describe it. It uh, I feel like I'm on the spot here in a way. I wasn't prepared to really, talk
That's the
about
best
this.
way not
And
to
I, you
be
know, and
prepared.
I haven't really even processed it yet. I mean,
Mhm.
um, and maybe I just didn't see enough of a cross section. I was going to go to Chelsea later today or tomorrow and see, what's going on there. But many of the galleries that I went to either came from Chelsea or have, galleries in both, neighborhoods. Um, I don't know how to, I don't know.
Was
I
it
wish I
was
could be
the
more
work
articulate. What?
representational or was it
No,
more
no, no, no. It was all very abstract.
abstract? Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, pretty much.
So, I mean, it's very interesting that uh, Banksy, for instance, I saw in the newspaper, he made a mural against the justice system in Great Britain, also Britain, and painted a thing where you see a judge beating on somebody down. And I don't know if you saw that in the newspaper, but it's very interesting that we are also in a political situation which is so unstable. And when you go to the galleries, what you see is in a way just geometrical art, or what? You don't see anybody.
Oh,
Apparently, I'm not in New York right now, but you don't see anything which would go in one or the other direction. I mean, by picking up on what's going on in the world, or
Yeah, the censorship issue is kind of a huge one. We don't have the kind of free speech we'd like to think we have. And I've watched artists who want to speak out about Israel clam up a bit. I'm very, the Jewish artists will stand up and say that the Gaza situation is genocide and it can't happen, it has to be stopped. But nobody else is speaking up. I have to admit, I'm not speaking up. I feel very constrained. People in the academic world won't speak up about Israel, and they just feel like they don't have the right. Part of it has to do with, funding getting cut off and things like that. But that's a big one. But then the other censorship issue, and I gotta hand it to Amy Sherald, who canceled her show at the Smithsonian when they wanted to take out that image of a trans person
Yeah.
as the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
And they talked about the kind of cold censorship that happens. Nobody told her to take it out specifically. Nobody told them that they had to take it out specifically. They only had to threaten one time. Trump's administration had to threaten them, and then they're just like self-censoring. And
Right. Yeah.
that self-censorship is so pervasive now.
Right.
But the flip side of that is that during the French Revolution, during the siege of Paris for a year, Degas, Manet, and Berthe Morisot were there, and they didn't do any art about it, not one bit of art about it. And then they were sympathetic to the communards, and Bloody Week, they did nothing about it. The only artist that did anything about it, painted anything, was James Tissot, the society painter from England, did a watercolor of bodies being shot and dumped off a wall. And then after all of that devastation, you had Impressionism. And one of the arguments in this very wonderful book, Paris in Ruins by Sebastian Smee, he talks about how the sweetness and beauty of the images that the Impressionists chose had a lot to do with transience, like how transient beauty in life is. And that's how they responded. There was no protest art, just sweet and beautiful art. And also sometimes that art covered, they were in a world of censorship too, like really brutal censorship, not just from the Salon and the Academy and everything, but just in general. And well, mostly to keep people out of the Academy, they would censor right away. But sometimes those beautiful blooming streets with trees and flower and everything were actually streets where there had been a bloody massacre, and they were sneaking in a comment that we don't perceive. I don't perceive because I don't know my history, but maybe Parisians at that time, if they were looking, would perceive it. And music in the Tuileries, there had been a bombing around, the Tuileries at that time during a music concert. People were dying all around while the music was playing. So there were some coded messages, but I don't know. Maybe we're not looking for coded messages yet, and maybe they aren't being made. I don't know.
Yeah, I think in any period, there's, even during the 60s here, we didn't see much political art. I mean, when you think about, Warhol, Rauschenberg, Johns, we don't associate any of them with, having made any kind of political statement. They were thinking about something else, Lichtenstein, all that whole group of artists. So I think it takes some special artists, Hans Haacke, overtly political. Was his subject, or Leon Golub, who was a political artist, but very few, and only those that I said, made a specific, that was their subject, hypocrisy, government hypocrisy or government heavy-handedness or political, situations. And otherwise, art has its own, raison, its own reason to be, its own trajectory.
Yes. Was it that minimalism, wasn't that actually so-called invented while there was McCarthyism, McCarthy, or
Well, McCarthy was in the
I'm
50s.
wrong. Right, and minimalism wasn't that? When was that?
That was more 60s, later 60s, 60s.
Really? Not
Oh,
a little
yeah.
bit here. I
Yeah.
thought it was after the World War II, sort of,
Well,
when
geometric
America,
abstraction,
when America.
Barnett
Hmm.
Newman and Ed Reinhardt, but minimalism, I think, is
Mhm.
really was a 60s movement, you know.
Okay.
There's
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
beautiful story. I think it's
Mhm.
really beautiful because it's sort of unexpected, but it's better known now, of course. But that the Abex people who were, a lot of them were very involved in Marxism, and you wouldn't think of them as people who wanted to be funded by the CIA, but in fact, one of the people on the board at the CIA was board at MoMA was a back channel for the CIA to bring in funding so that the US, oh, what is it called? It's part of the State Department. They send art overseas, and they just did this huge triumph of abstract expressionism show,
Yeah,
shipped it all over the world
that's right.
because they were showing that in an uncensored, unrepressed, not Soviet society,
Right.
that you would have the freedom of creativity. And so they were using ABX to tout freedom in the West and decry oppression in Russia. It was
Mhm.
fascinating. It's a great story.
There used to be the belief that art, in a capitalist system would just be co-opted, by by media and by commodification, and it would basically be defanged,
Yeah.
regardless of what the political, you know, philosophy was, or what the political, intentions of the artist, that it would just be absorbed by this huge system of commodification, right? And so there wasn't uh, repression, the same kind of repression that, that we're sort of looking at today.
So the market would regulate
Yeah, it
the
would just be
expression of the
absorbed. It
artist.
would be absorbed. It would be turned into more just transient wallpaper, cultural,
Mm.
wallpaper,
Wallpaper.
right?
One of my favorite political artists, by the way, is Suko. I
Oh,
mean,
Suko, yeah, she was good.
yeah, I wonder what she's
Yeah,
up to.
haven't seen her work in a long time.
Yeah,
She was sort of a graphic artist, though. I mean,
she
she came
was.
out of work, that had a narrative, that had a
Yeah,
political message and a narrative. Because she was like a comic, even, like, right? She was doing,
yeah, she was a lot in Raw magazine, and then she
yeah,
published
yeah,
books, and
yeah,
they were,
right.
yeah, they're very impressive. But that that transient media probably is the better media for conveying topical subjects. And in fact, Manet never did a painting, but he did do some lithographs, and then he didn't even try to do a Maximilian painting after the censorship happened. That was his big
Who,
political.
Manet?
Monet. Was it Monet or Manet? God, I can never.
Manet.
Thank you.
Manet.
Did the Maximilian. But I think he did some lithographs and he gave it a shot, but I don't know. I mean, he never did a painting about the siege or about the communards. So anyway, um, but yeah, back to Sue Cohen, that particular kind of narrative being the right the right vehicle for political art. You look at Jacob Lawrence, it's the narrative becomes important, and you don't
Totally.
mess around when you have a message that you absolutely have to convey unequivocally with no ambiguity. Narrative art does seem to become important. I mean, a very good vehicle for that.
The thing is, some artists, they just can't, take everything that they do, not that they're even necessarily aware of everything that they're doing, but they like the zone where they're, you know, being whatever it is, and and doing whatever they feel is important to do. And it's hard to get that and distill it into some kind of political, what's the word, narrative or slogan, or
Snapshot, or yeah.
it becomes, it's very difficult, for certain artists to distill what they do into that kind of language.
Yeah.
I
mean, you could think about the AbX guys all responding. I mean, as I've heard it said, that they were all responding to nuclear threat, total global nuclear annihilation, and the self was all
Right.
left, and the anxiety in the self, and so they painted that. So
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, think of it just, painting after the horrors of what happened in the Second World War. I mean, ending with a nuclear explosion that was, perpetrated by this country, right, on a civilian population in 2 cities. I mean, just think of, after that trauma, what the fuck do you paint? What do you do? What's
Yeah.
left to do? It had to be just,
Yeah.
I mean, Rothko, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty dark, pretty dark. It's like, just like there's a little glow. Still, there's a little light there, but I mean, it had to be pretty, they must have been traumatized in many ways, just shocked, PTSD going on in the art world.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating because I never heard this thinking before, But I knew that the artists after World War II in New York wanted to start anew, wanted to separate from the masters and wanted, a New York voice or a American voice.
Right.
But it's interesting to hear about their influences with World War II and that abstract expressionism came from, that experience that they had.
That they just lived through. I mean, didn't we all have total nuclear bomb anxiety nightmares when we were in college?
I didn't have that.
Oh,
I grew, I was born in 59. I didn't go under my desk. I didn't have that, growing up. So I think if maybe 5-10 years older, you would have had that, but my people born in my decades didn't.
I don't know, maybe it was connected to having to get under my desk for tornado drills in Oklahoma, but it all seemed very real to me. And also living in New York, and people would explain that a bomb that, like Hiroshima or Nagasaki, which was a small bomb compared to what they have now, landing in Midtown would make a crater that went all the way to the Statue of Liberty. It's just like, you think about things like that, and sort of, I don't know, it got in my head. I certainly had the nightmares.
I just want to know who thought that it was any protection going under those little desks.
Duck and roll, yeah, whatever that was.
They shouldn't have bothered,
I know.
A whole generation felt, scared,
I guess it was supposed to give us
get any protection, but I'm
Yeah.
just.
And those pictures of Japanese children knowing that the blast was coming, because the warning had gone out that there was going to be this device used and this bomb used. And so they made the children put paper cones over their noses, little triangles of paper over their noses, so they wouldn't get burned from the flash. I mean, it's quite an image.
But
Yeah.
it's interesting also, when we go back to the gallery visits, it's crossed my mind that in a way it could be that the galleries in a way have the function of the academy in a way.
Yeah.
meaning
Right, that's
they
right.
tell you what's the thing you have to do in a way. You know,
Absolutely.
of
And
course they don't tell you have to, but it's in a way they have this, thing going on. When you look at those galleries, which have this special sauce, as we said it one time, thing going on, which all these artists are good artists, but there is no amplitude anymore or in the thing. They have no, it's almost the same program. It could be almost the same artist, a little bit exaggerated said, but it's, Canada, for instance, in Soho, and McEnery, and they have a very special, I know also artists which show there, they are good artists, but the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
program it
yeah,
could be very, very sedating that when you go there, sometimes you don't have to see these shows because you know already what they are showing.
right.
It's not,
Yeah,
there is no surprise.
that's right.
That's why people go to the cinema. The movies are sometimes also boring, but sometimes they are much more interesting than what's going on in art.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel you had this experience, Mark, when you went to the galleries. You know.
Yeah, it was a program. You're right. It's a yeah, it's the program. It's
Mhm.
the narrowness of like, as you're absolutely right that the galleries function as the academy. There is an
Mm.
academy, and that's determining what, is relevant and what is,
It's
viable.
it's 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 a doctrine in a way.
Yeah, it
Doctrine.
is. It is.
There is
And
a
so
doctrine into it. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like I mean, yeah, there's this idea of this sort of development or progress or narrative, of art history, and how we've been sort of taught to look for something, somehow novel or new or groundbreaking or something, you know. And so we don't see what's good anymore. If things that have sort of, if there can be, intrinsic qualities, or self-evident qualities. But I know that there's a lot of artists working that are not, represented necessarily, especially in
Mm.
those galleries, that I visited yesterday, that are really good,
Mm.
um, that are still productive and still doing good work and even very interesting work. But I think that there's been this emphasis on, just sort of commodification, what's new, what we can sell, what's, packaged as new. And I think, the kind of emphasis on that has, you know, eclipsed, all other possibilities. And so it's like, as you say, the outsiders, the people that have been passed over are the people that get to, still develop, still evolve, you know what I
Mm.
mean? And
It's
still
like
do what they love to do.
Mhm.
it's like the art world is looking at trading instead of investing in a way. Like if you compare
Right.
in the stock market, traders, they just flip, right? They're looking
Yeah,
to
they're
flip and
flipping.
make
Yeah.
money. And investors invest in a company that over the long haul will do very well. And
Yeah.
the art market seems to be pretty much just
Yeah.
flipping and trading. And everybody's just seeing this short-term work. If they did look
Mhm.
at artists that are, well, just in it for the long haul, who didn't, like me, who didn't ever become a flash in the pan and just keep chugging along, making better and better work, I'd like to think, then they would be more involved in the investing side. But that takes time. Connoisseurship only comes with time. So
Yeah.
nobody wants to do time anymore. Take time anymore, pardon me.
Mhm.
It takes too much time to take time.
I know. you might actually have to visit galleries often. You might
Mhm.
have to actually follow an artist's work, see where they're going with it. But like Ross Bleckner and Jeff Koons, they wrote they wrote a little manifesto, and some other people and everything. You'd think those people wouldn't have anything in common, but they sat down together and talked like we're doing, and they had a vision about what art could be, and they wrote about it. They all did very well by it. Writing a manifesto apparently helps a lot.
Yeah, right.
Give something for the art critics to hang a hat on, I suppose. I don't
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it came out of sincerity. Bleckner, I think, I might even get teased for his sincerity, but I think he's such a sincere painter. His paintings
Mhm.
are beautiful.
I don't
Mhm.
know
They-
his,
Yeah.
You don't see his work around that much, but
He's actually in a show. I just saw two pieces in in Hudson, New
oh yeah,
York.
oh,
Yeah, I
wow.
went to
Mhm.
an opening last Saturday, and it was a group show about, I don't know how many artists, maybe 15 artists, 12, 15, I can't remember the number. Just, mostly local artists, mostly artists that show, up in
Mhm.
that area in Hudson. And Ross Bleckner and Richard Arschweiger each had
Archwalker,
two
yeah.
pieces. Each had two pieces in the show.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I did
how'd they
actually
look?
get. They weren't my favorite Bleckners, I must say.
Okay,
Uh,
Mhm.
they weren't as beautiful, and they weren't his more signature style, which I think, was
Mhm.
great. I think he was, extremely good.
yeah,
And but these somehow were not of that. I don't know if they were recent. They may have been more recent paintings. Um,
Mhm.
you wouldn't have recognized them
oh,
necessarily,
Mhm.
okay.
his paintings. Yeah. I wonder if you could see him. Let me see if I can get him up. And let me
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
see if I can find him. And I'll let you know. Uh,
But speaking of Hudson, I was reading an article by Katya Kazakina. She's a financial writer for ArtNet.
who?
Katya Kazakina, and she does the financial writing
Okay.
for ArtNet News, and is on. She does the Art Detective, and she's on Art Angle podcast. And she was talking about the storm in the art world, and like going over the numbers, which are not always transparent, but the auction numbers are, and the decline in the auction numbers. And then to your point about Hudson, she talked to one gallerist who said, hey, it just didn't make sense to have a gallery in New York or a permanent space necessarily. So he has a space in Florida, and he captures that audience. Then he goes seasonally, and then he goes to Hudson and he captures that audience seasonally
Mhm.
by doing galleries that in those two places. And but almost like, an extended pop-up gallery or something. I've forgotten the gallerist's name, of course, but then she also had this other point about the downturn in the market. And this is why she's such a good financial reporter, because it's not all numbers. She gives you a narrative you can really hang your hat on. Soho Art Materials used to make about 700 stretchers. Now they're making 200 a year. That big a downturn. That's a
Mhm.
pretty significant
Yeah.
downturn. They're not getting cheaper, better stretchers anywhere else. They do the Trimar stretchers, the aluminum ones that are so good.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, wow, that's huge. I mean, I know people are making
But
smaller work and everything, but
you see, that's sometimes I have to also uh, be careful that I don't mix up things like art market and art
yeah,
has nothing to do with each other. A market is a market, and it's like real estate market or whatever, or oil market or blah, blah, blah market. And basically has nothing to do with the quality of artwork. It has to do with a belief system and how it's propagated, how it's of course behind there is sort of a thing going on with art critics and which you can buy to write a good piece about any art, and and tell people this is something which will last forever or whatever, and the price goes up. But as soon somebody sells something, you need a seller, and if the seller doesn't pay the price, the market goes down, and that's with basically 99% of everything goes down. It's not going up, and that's that's so deceiving. When I say, "Oh, this piece was for 120 million," who pays 120 million? That's anyway completely another deal, which has nothing to do with our life. Our life, you know what I'm saying? It's has nothing to do. And it's so deceiving, you know what I'm saying? It's completely deceiving, and I really caution everybody to look too much at art markets. Has nothing to do with your art you're doing.
Right.
Would
Oh, yeah,
I
but it's
just
still
argue?
fascinating. I still
Yeah,
find
of course it's fascinating, but it's completely another thing.
oh yeah.
It's completely something else.
But
You
I
know.
am really interested in the idea that artists are potentially making less work for Soho Art Materials to be making 500 fewer stretchers, canvases. That's a lot.
Mhm.
Well, there's just too many installation artists. That's all.
They all switch to performance. They're all doing memes now and NFTs.
Exactly. Here's some images from the show in Hudson. It's a gallery called Public Private, and it's a nice venue. The owner of the gallery, the person who formed the gallery, is named Chris Friedman, and he's a painter as well. And I think he lived in the city for many years. I don't know his whole story, but um, he has he's created a nice presence in Hudson, and the gallery is very good. But here's some images from, let's see. What? Oh, okay.
Deborah Dancy. Mhm.
Have you heard of her?
No, never. Ellen Kozak.
Oh, I know Ellen Kozak. Didn't we show with her, Hans, at Carolyn J. Roy Gallery?
I don't remember, but could be. Do you think so? We should check that out. Could be.
Let me go back. That was obviously
Heidi Fasnacht. Yeah, I know Heidi Fasnacht. Yeah,
Is that a corner sculpture? That's so funny.
Yes. Yeah, it's in the corner and it's painted. It's not a sculpture, it's actually a painting.
nice.
Yeah.
A trompe-l'oeil.
I mean, Arschweiger was great, I think, and
Yeah, he was great. Yeah.
had great ideas. This
Absolutely.
is a mixed media. There's digital photography and then there's painting into it.
Yeah, I know Heidi Fasnacht. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. What's that? Sharon Butler's sculpture.
It's yeah, it's
Mhm.
very simple. It's a lot of raw canvas with some marks on it, like this, like with the roller,
Yeah.
or brayer, or something.
Mhm.
Let's see what else.
Mhm. Mhm.
That I don't recall.
Mhm. Witkowski, the priest, yeah. Witkowski, yeah, I think. I saw a show of him also one time. Witkowski.
I think
Who is this? Oh,
That could be from Linda.
this is a photograph, though. This is photography. Yeah. This was a very large painting, 64 by 70.
It's gorgeous.
Well,
Mhm. Oh no. Mhm.
What was this show called?
it was called What's That Sound? Everybody look what's going down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This was you know this artist, Michael St. John?
No.
These were small, like 12 by 12 panels.
Sharon
And
Butler is that person that runs Two Coats of Paint, that art blog.
is she?
Sharon Butler. And usually the painting is kind of not painterly painting, not representational, that they like to review. So her taste is, I think, in there, built in
Right,
there.
right. This is by a guy named Michael Rodriguez. Do you know him?
No.
I've known him for many years. We were neighbors, actually. He lived off of Bleecker and Mott when I lived there. And he's good. This was a big painting. He's been around.
Mhm. Mhm.
Nice.
This is his as well. Let's see if I can.
It's like glasses which
Yeah,
is
something like that.
from.
Lights
Right.
and streamers and confetti. It's quite the little party.
Right, exactly. Exactly. I don't know why it turns black. Is yours black?
Yeah, it turned black over
No,
here.
it's
Okay, there.
turning. That's fine. Now it's fine.
I'm still wanting to get to the. Oh, something's going on here. There we go. Okay. I wonder why it's.
But the Bleckner was going to be the next one.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
after the party one.
Well, we'll get there.
Who's this?
This was a kind of a nice piece. It looks dimensional, but it's not. There's actually photographic elements in this and some screens, and I don't know. It was complicated the way it was put together, but it's not
Mhm.
actually, uh, you know, three-dimensional material.
Mhm. Hmm.
That's beautiful. I love the way the drawing goes up and the painting goes down.
Mhm.
The painting of the white, that kind of form, I
Yeah.
think I'm not sure how it was done, but it looks like it was maybe transferred and pressed onto the painting.
Mhm.
So it might
Mhm.
have been done on another, a sheet of plastic or something, and then I'm not sure. I'm just not sure.
Well, you would hope it wasn't acrylic on oil.
I think it's all acrylic.
It said acrylic and oil.
Oh,
But
okay. Well, so maybe the background is acrylic and
we hope so,
Mhm.
right?
yes, we hope so. That's
What is
our
oh, nice.
This I didn't see. This is a local painter named Donna Moylan, who's pretty well known up in the area. And she's
Mhm.
sort of a figurative painter, quasi-figurative.
Mhm. 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 Mhm.
This is hers as well.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like mhm.
She's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny, interesting.
This was a big painting of hers. This was what is it? Uh 72 inches high.
I
So
love
6
that
feet.
title. Grief deferred, sorrow postponed.
Yeah, that's a
It was
good
I
one.
like this painting. It was
How old
pretty.
is she?
She's probably in her, I don't know, I'm guessing late 60s.
That would be the right age to know to postpone sorrow. You're running out of time. You can't
Yeah.
be wasting time on that.
Right. This is another painter. We saw one of her before.
That's lovely. So you didn't see anything like this in Tribeca, huh? Interesting paint handling,
No,
interesting imagery.
this was a more interesting show, I'll tell
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I see them. Yeah, they're okay.
Not all of these paintings were on view, so I'm seeing some of these for the first time, actually.
That's nice. Yes, evocation.
This is by Oliver Wasow. Do you know who he is? He's a photographer. He uses manipulation, AI, and he. I've been following. I didn't know. I don't know him, but I follow him on Instagram. I've been just seeing what he's been doing for a while.
What's his name? Walter?
Oliver Wasow, Wasow, and he's pretty interesting. Victor Witkowski, we saw one of his paintings before.
Right.
There's some political art.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. You mean this?
Yeah.
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 Die Face Rush Limbo.
This was a nice little painting. It was very well painted, and it was pretty small, 19 inches by 15 inches. It's very simple, very straightforward. Color is good.
James Esper's a nice guy.
This is a huge painting, 100 by 80 inches.
Wow.
By Stephen Maine. Do you know him?
No.
He's sort of known up there. And he does, this was actually quite nice. This is not a good reproduction. The pinks were not quite as strident. And the other areas, again, are transferred somehow and are very, very impasto. So the pink was very, very transparent and atmospheric. And the top layer of the greens, or that deep green gray, is quite viscous.
Oh, I really love that. I love that amount of contrast in a painting.
It was really nice, I must say. And it did tricky things just with perception and the eye.
Nice.
I don't know why it does that. Let's see. I think it's loading or something, right?
Yeah, it needs a little bit time. You need a new computer, Mark.
It's not the computer, it's the
of course, it's the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Sorry, you need a new
I'm in
Wi-Fi.
New York. I'm in
I
New
know.
York. The Wi-Fi sucks here.
How dare you?
It's typical New York.
Let's find that Blackner.
Yeah,
That's why
man.
I'm sorry.
That's why you couldn't recognize black, because it's not black. I like that. You were in another show then.
Yeah.
I
think
was
that's
interesting,
it right
Blackner.
there. Oh, no. Let's go. I think we've seen all these, except for the Blackners, strangely.
I thought I saw Bleckner's name go buzzing by when it was on a black screen. So
That's what I think.
had one time a conversation with David Rabinovich, and he went to a concert, a cello sonata, and he was telling, that he counted about 67 mistakes. So I said it must be another sonata.
Right, right. Why can't we find that painting?
That's not
There,
fair.
there it is.
Here.
Okay, there you. Now, would you have recognized that?
No,
Based on a photograph by Cy Twombly. Yeah, that's why. It looked to me like a Cy Twombly.
Oh, no, I don't think so. And that.
Yeah.
you're starting to see that the sweetness in the blur.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And they
Yeah,
were,
I like it. I like that one.
yeah,
But I'm predisposed to liking it, you know?
yeah, right, exactly. If I didn't tell you it was Ross Bleckner, you may not have known.
I may have been,
I like this,
This was a photograph.
but I like it. That's nice.
I like it too. That nice clean plastic and that wall of dirt.
And it's also a nice composition. Where is it? It's
Yeah.
nice. Who's that?
It's a
The guy here. Danaho. Hey.
I don't know. I can't, for some reason, I'm unable to scroll this.
Yeah, but I can read it down here.
Can you see?
Danaho. How do you say it? How do you pronounce?
Howie?
Hoe. Hoe. Danahoe.
I think it's Dana, Hoey.
Dana.
So
Surely
anyway, this I think was a painting. Yeah, oil on wood. It's an interesting show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see.
Oh, by the way,
What was
Hans,
it?
yeah, she did show at Carolyn J. Roy, Ellen Kozak.
Really?
Yeah,
Correct.
she was doing landscapes at the time that sort of looked
Oh,
like tongues of, like they were broken down into shapes that were almost like very sensuous,
right.
painterly tongues of paint, you know?
Mhm.
Anyway, and her work has changed a lot, but we don't know the intermediate steps. So
Ah,
So
good. Yeah.
I don't want to say that there's not, interesting and good painting and good and serious artists. I mean, I know all of these artists
Yeah, of
are,
course.
you know, are doing it, are working, and they're not, none of them are, 25 years old,
yeah.
they're all a little more mature and in
Mm.
their careers, in their late careers.
Mhm.
So there's good people out there for sure, but I didn't see him in the city. City's way more kind of trendy. I don't know what it is.
You didn't take any pictures of those.
Sorry?
You didn't take any
No,
pictures.
no.
Yeah.
I was
I'd be
not
curious to
compelled.
see,
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see what you didn't like.
Nobody says that out loud though.
Huh?
Nobody really usually says that out loud though,
No.
but they don't single somebody out to rip on them unless they're super famous and
Yeah.
super rich and like Coons, and then he can probably take it.
Oh, yeah, sure. Of course. Of course. So if you want to see, I also did see something I liked a lot, and that was there was a retrospective of Beauford Delaney.
Oh, I love Beaufort Delaney. Is that how you
I
say
do
it? Beaufort?
too. Huh?
Yeah.
It's at the Drawing Center.
Oh my God, that was such a good show.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. So
Yeah.
I took a bunch of images from that if you want to.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see. I think it's here. Okay. So this was just from a little sketchbook
Mm-hmm.
laying in a case.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
So does everyone know who Beauford Delaney was?
No.
Mm-hmm.
He's a black artist, part of the Harlem Renaissance,
Mm-hmm.
was in the, was a kind of one of a recognized artist, a portraitist primarily, and um, in a group with Romare Bearden and who else? There were many others. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
um, sorry for, well,
Yeah, yeah.
and Baldwin was a champion of his. He had a
Mm-hmm.
very close relationship with James Baldwin, and
Mm-hmm.
Norman Lewis was another artist from that period, um, and but James Baldwin encouraged him to move to Paris, which he did, and he
Mm-hmm.
left this country about, I think, mid-career. I don't know the specifics of his biography very well, but he
Mm-hmm.
ended up living in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
So these are
Yeah.
from the, I think, 50s
Mm-hmm.
mostly, and maybe as late as the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
But he did a
Great.
lot of different things, you'll see.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, nice.
That's James Baldwin.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
That's kind
Wasn't
of
there a
wonderful.
story in that case about like his studio and how the floor was buckling because there'd been a water main break underneath his studio floor and ice had formed?
I didn't see that.
I think if that was the show that I read that in.
Yeah.
That's nice. Wow, that's also good.
Yeah, these are great.
I love
Mm-hmm.
the street scenes.
They're coming up.
Yeah. Oh, good.
He was
Hmm. Yeah.
influenced by Cubism or his own version of it. He did a lot of
Mm-hmm.
different things. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if this was after he left America, or I'm not sure when he painted this.
Mm-hmm.
I love the
Hmm.
combination of abstraction and
Yeah.
representation in this one. There's
Mm-hmm.
real space. You go into a real space, but then it completely
Mm-hmm.
flattens into just,
Mm-hmm.
colored, flat,
Mm-hmm.
geometric abstraction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sort of an interesting.
Nice. Yeah, it's
But
nice.
as New Yorkers, aren't we just kind of coveting the space? He's got a skylight, he's got his heater.
I
Looks like
remember
a good
this
studio.
was at Yaddo.
Oh,
This one he did at Yaddo.
Ah,
nice.
wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
this is the library or some room that
I
I
got it.
recall. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice.
Then he got into complete abstraction in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which year was that, this piece, for
I don't
instance?
know.
You don't know. Yeah.
I didn't take
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is like in the, I would say, 1960 maybe, or 1950.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
it was 51. I don't know. It was in the 50s and early 60s, I recall.
I think
Mm-hmm.
this is really interesting. I see a face.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, the nose is like maybe 2 inches down, eyes a little
Mm-hmm.
bit above that, and then a tone.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You see that? And
Yeah,
then,
yeah, you can see that.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also looks to me like a flower pot. Like there's like
Mm.
a
Yeah, yeah.
vase and a flower. It's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
He did a lot of these.
That's already almost Ryman.
That's those are done around 1954, 55.
I think,
I
you
was
know,
just looking it up. They've got some at MoMA that are like
okay,
that. So I just
yeah.
wanted to help out
So
here.
that's what it would be in the 50s. Yeah.
But then he did another portrait in 67.
Yeah,
So he
could
never
be.
left portraiture. Interesting.
Right. You went back and
I
forth.
like that.
Right.
I like that, this back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he used yellow incredibly well. I don't think yellow
Yes.
is that easy a color to work with.
Right.
But he did some
That's true.
luminous. Wasn't there a yellow one that was just like glowing in that show?
Uh,
I
that,
couldn't get it on my camera.
yeah, I don't recall.
It's
This was
funny
a beautiful
because
little painting.
Mark always says yellow is so hard to paint.
Mhm.
I have a terrible time with it.
It's hard because it's inherently a very light. It's full of light. So it's hard to, so you have to stay within a certain range with it because it's not, it never gets dark. When it gets dark, it's another color.
Gets muddy.
It's brown or it's green or something.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it has sort of a narrower range than, like blues
Mhm.
or, greens or reds, which can go into, pastels and very light colors. But yellow never gets dark, really.
If you try
It
to
become more intense.
make something look 3D with yellow, give it some volume
Yeah.
with yellow
Mhm.
paint, you almost immediately figure out that yellow just wants to sit there and be flat. It doesn't want to play well with other yellows.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
tried to do a painting of yellow plastic ducks floating in a pond in a kiddie pool, just to practice painting yellow with
Right.
yellow. And what a fiasco. I mean, it was okay. They looked like what they were supposed to be, but I felt like I did yellow a huge disservice because I never got the richness and I never created the form either. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I did sell it at an auction for $300 for Ukraine. So I got some good came out of it, but
Yeah. Nice painting.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
so was he schizophrenic? I can't remember.
He had issues. He had psychological issues. He was hospitalized in Paris.
Self-medicating with alcohol.
I don't know about that. I mean,
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't be surprised, but
It
yeah, he had I think he was I think delusional, at the end and had, I don't know specifically.
So
So
sweet.
Mhm.
I love how he signed this one.
is that his signature?
yeah, they worked it right in there, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
Yeah,
love that.
nice. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't know his younger brother Joseph was also a noted painter.
Right.
Delaney.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
There's a sweet yellow. This one was very, very light.
Oh,
Mhm. But it's interesting, that he, yeah,
That he what?
yeah, I mean, going towards Ryman, in a way. I mean,
yeah.
sort of,
Sort
by.
of. I feel like this comes more out of, in as much as they were painted in Paris. I feel, but I'm not sure. And there was no indication in the gallery or in the, in the
No, yeah.
literature what were his influences were there. And I'm thinking that he may have seen Monet. This reminds me
Mm.
of something about Monet and his, use, his atmosphere, the way he used paint. Uh,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Or at least, I mean, if you look at some details of Monet paintings.
Yes, details. Yes.
And then you know, I took some photographs too. You know, we have a great Monet paintings here in Zurich, huge one in the Bürle Sammlung.
Right.
And I don't have it ready, but I want to show that maybe next time.
Okay.
I took a piece out of this Monet painting, which is so incredibly, in my opinion, so sloppy, but it works in the whole painting. But it's just, when you look at it, you think it's like a beginner's paint move, you know, on the canvas. It's very interesting. I show that next time.
Okay.
Can't wait to see it.
You know, yeah.
Yeah. So I got the feeling that he may have been, you know, seen, you know, impressionist.
It's a good point. Yeah. Right.
Because it's so much about light and, you know, and just liberating paint.
Yeah.
You know, that as a portraitist, you know, and these more, you know, abstract works. But even this, he may have. I don't know. I mean, I
But
want.
you see, the interesting thing is it. You know, some if you are suffering some illnesses, like psychological illnesses or whatever, you know, you are basically in an overload situation, and you see that in these paintings. It goes everywhere, and he can't decide. Everything is actually okay and right, but he can't make a decision. He can't make, like, now I'm going that way, you know.
Yes.
He is bouncing back and forth, you know, and I like that actually, because it's like very lively, but it's very hard to, you know, that, as we said before, the academy would not approve of it, you know, or the gallery would not approve.
Right.
You know, in a way, you know, because
I agree with
we
you.
don't know what is your work about, you know. You know,
I agree with you completely. That is exactly the feeling that I got with these paintings. That he was just, you know, found a kind of a comfort, you know, even though, you know, in being in that zone and not being able to be definitive, you know. In other words, this really wasn't about you know, color field painting. That's really not what it's about. You know what I mean? It wasn't defined as such yet.
No, that's true. But he saw in each development stage, you got something out of the canvas. You know, I think it's a very, each piece is basically, it can survive, you know. I don't need two pieces to, this is better. They are all good pieces, actually.
Right.
Very strict and very as there is a lot concentrated thing going on, you know.
Absolutely.
Even it's all over the place, you know.
Yeah.
It's very,
I agree.
It's very intense and yeah.
I agree with you completely.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I absolutely agree.
You know, this could be Penck or Louis Suter.
Yes.
I don't know if you know Louis Suter.
Yeah, I do.
You know, Louis Suter was also in a psychiatric ward for a long time, and Louis Suter, he was very influential to A.R. Penck.
That's right.
Penck, which then did his design stuff. You know what I'm saying? According to those things, you know. This is, look at this. It's amazing. I would like to show you also a work of my friend, which died, Hans Weder. It's he was also in a clinic, and it reminds me so many things on also.
You want to show it now?
No, I'm not
Okay.
prepared. It takes a bit longer. I have to.
Okay.
We
Because
have to do it maybe then, one time, and maybe we go back a little bit here into and talk about this thing, about
okay.
this overload, or
Okay.
what is art about,
Okay. Mhm.
do we have to make decision like a design that we are recognizable, and then
Right.
we have success, or is that the way how we feel and how we are in the moment, which you know what I'm saying? You are not eating each day the same thing, you eat the pizza and then and something, I don't know, salmon tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Here's some information about him. So it said by 1961, heavy drinking had begun to impair Delaney's often fragile mental and physical health. Periods of lucidity were interrupted by days and sometimes weeks of madness. This pattern continued for the remainder of his life. Continued hunger, poverty, and alcohol abuse fueled his deterioration. James Baldwin said of Delaney, he has been starving and working all of his life in Tennessee and Boston and New York and now in Paris. He has been menaced more than any other man I know by his social circumstances, being black and gay, and also by all the emotional and psychological stratagems he has been forced to use to survive. And more than any other man I know, he has transcended both the inner and outer darkness. Isn't that sweet?
Wow.
Very nice. Yeah. Very impressive. Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I've always been moved by his work.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, most of these works belong to Michael Rosenfeld, who has the, Michael Rosenfeld Gallery. Are you familiar with it, Linda? The gallery?
Yeah, I've been in and out of it, but
It's a great gallery.
okay.
The shows are always interesting, always good. And he has a lot of Beauford Delaney, and I've seen a lot of his work there, a lot of his portraiture and later portraits, which are really interesting. And he's just a very sympathetic artist,
Mhm.
very human, very approachable.
I
Last,
think it's, yeah,
go
sorry.
ahead.
No, yeah, I think it would be a great round up this whole thing. Do you want to go on with something else, Mark?
Well, there was one other thing, just as sort of an addendum
Okay.
actually, I saw this online. It wasn't something that I actually witnessed, but I thought it was fun, so I included it. This is this painting by Morris Hirshfield. You know who he is?
No.
He was from Brooklyn. He was a tailor, and he was sort of a naive painter. He was considered, I guess, somewhat of an outsider, and he was embraced by the surrealists. So here's that same painting with André Breton, Marcel Duchamp, and Max Ernst. And this is Leonora Carrington with the big squash here, the big zucchini.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And that's just a dummy, but this is the painting. So they sort of embraced him. And most of his paintings sort of look something like this, although he didn't necessarily do nudes. He did other type of things, but with this kind of these kinds of what's the word? These lines.
All repeated patterning?
Repeated patterns, yeah. Repeated patterns and symmetrical patterns and so on that, you see in some, outsider work. But so anyway, so I just included some of his drawings and not his paintings. I actually found these online.
Yeah, that's like a willfully,
Yeah,
a
exactly.
little bit willfully thing going on
Absolutely. Right.
with this thing Adolf Wolff.
Schröder Sonnenstern.
Ja, ja. Ja, ja, die Katze, the cat in there.
I love this. I think it's
Yeah, it's fun.
this was actually a preparatory drawing for a painting, but I thought the drawing was much more interesting. I didn't include the painting. This was also a mock-up for a painting. And this is the best. It's just a great piece with the hand.
Yeah.
It's just so much fun. I think that's, yeah, so that's it. It was just a little,
Yeah, that's great. It was a nice.
and I just love that,
Yeah, okay. So that would be for our viewers today, right? And next week we have a friend of yours, Linda, right? Which has a
Yes.
presentation.
I got Tony Robbin to come on by describing his work badly and inaccurately last time I was on. So he saw it and he agreed to come on and correct the record. His work is beautiful. I really love it.
Yeah.
Good.
So
Okay.
I'm going to sign off here.
Yes, we say goodbye to our audience. Thank you for watching and see you next week. Bye.